What's up, guys? Uh, Welcome back. We are today working on various systems in Helrift. In Helrift, Rift. Can't talk properly today. First thing's going to be alchemy. We've done all the prerequisite systems for alchemy. We've got to put them all together now, and we're also going to be working on some of the combat system. So I guess let's dive right in and take a look. We have things like gathering, the new system gathering. We have the new system for woodcutting, and we can collect items from these systems. And alchemy is there to put those items together and create something new. We've spent a long time designing lots of different potions, consumables. We have new mechanics for coatings as well, which is quite a cool, interesting mechanic. And we also have some utility stuff, so that includes things like fishing lures, bait, gemstones are in there, some elixirs and things to improve your PvE performance, and a whole new section called experimental. Lots of really interesting new mechanics I want to add with that one, but we're going to stick with the first, I guess, basics potions of healing potion, mana potion, and stamina potions, and try and create the user interface for players to create those items, and possibly see a list of recipes. Eventually, I think those recipes will be unlocked either through the skill tree, or maybe they find recipes around the world, or they get them through quests and things. So yeah, lots of different systems we'll be jumping into today. Hopefully I'll get onto the balance mechanics. Balance is a bit boring, to be honest. It's a lot of maths and looking at code rather than looking at the game and the user interface. So the first thing I probably want to do is store the recipes somewhere. So I need a scriptable object for alchemy. I think we can start. Ooh. Let's create a new folder here. We're going to call it skills. In fact, we can call it recipes. I think recipes is fine. Okay, and we have various scriptable objects for other things in the system, like items, spells, and this is the kind of same way I want to do it with the recipes. So let's jump into the code and find. I think what we can probably do is create a whole section specifically for alchemy. I mean, it depends how big this system grows. We could just have a skills section, but alchemy is good. So we're going to create a new class. We'll call this. Actually, could we use recipe as a generic term? Because we could use recipes in smelting or manufacturing as well. Let's call it recipe for now. And this is. Thanks, Unity. I don't want any of this. It's not mono behavior, it is a scriptable object. Okay. So we probably need a few setup things here. A recipe is going to have an item data, which is itself a scriptable object. This stores the information about each type of item in the game. And because it's already set up, we can have this as the product item. So the recipe is going to produce something. And we also probably want we need to know what each item is that we're putting into the recipe, but it needs to know a quantity as well, because there are some alchemy recipes with more than one of the item. So we can't use item data, because item data is an individual item. Do we have another type of class to handle this, like item quantity, something like that? I don't think we do. So I think what we can do is probably create a class. We'll call it something like ingredient, and then we can have multiple ingredients in the recipe. Ingredient. We need to serialize this so that it's visible on the inspector. And we can do this two ways actually. We can store the ID of the ingredient and retrieve it at runtime, or we can link it in the inspector. Let's just do it the same way we're doing the recipe at the moment. If we come across an issue, we can change it. And we want a quantity. Okay. So our recipe would then have ingredient, multiple ingredients. Like that. Ingredient or ingredient? It's ingredient, isn't it? Should probably learn to spell. Ingredient. Okay. So let's create a scriptable object, and we'll do this with the first healing potion, which is a minor healing potion. We probably need to put this on the... I forgot what the syntax is for this. I want it on the context menu. Yeah, it's like create asset menu, that's the one. I think it's fine under items, it doesn't matter. Okay. Creating a recipe, we're going to call this minor healing potion. And you can see there we can set up our item. So our product item, we actually don't have an item for it, so we'll create that one quickly. We do have the OG healing potion here, a health pot. But these alchemy ones are going to be a bit different, I think. But for simplicity, we can just use this one, just to get the system working. And let's go. I do have recipes for everything. I've designed this system, but there are certain items that are not yet in the game. So let's go with the ones that we do have, which are briar flower. You need 2 of those. We need carp. Yeah, that'll do. So we have recipes. Now we need to tell the game about these recipes. So we probably need a new manager, to be honest, shared between the server and the client. We have this world scene. Call this alchemy manager. Alchemy manager. Okay, I'm just going to move this into the correct location because we do have this new alchemy folder specifically for this. and Unity's going to do its thing. Okay, so we're going to register the recipes here. I think the manager's not going to do too much at the moment, except for register the available recipes that are going to be available in the game. So we've got buying a healing potion. So this world scene is visible by the server and the client, so they both have access to this repository of recipes. Okay, we probably want to show these recipes in the game so that the player can click on it and try to create that item. So let's jump over to client and start having a look at the UI. I think we will create a new one here. Alchemy, I guess. It might actually be good to copy one of the existing ones so that I get all the same layouts and things. How big is that? Let's copy it. Right. It's 2D view. Let's make sure this is fit in there. That's good. Let's just get this over in the middle somewhere. And the bits that we have copied over that we want to change, equipment. Oh, I don't like that this is not Text Mesh Pro. Let's just Alchemy and size 24 and this one. And just grab this color. What am I missing? Because that one looks a lot thicker. It's really blurry. I don't know why that is. I mean, I know why that is. It's because it's the built-in text component. It's not bold, is it? Is it bold? I don't know. I mean, it looks sharper anyway, so we'll leave it like that. All right. So we have nothing under here yet in our content frame. So we want a list. I think I want a list of recipes here. And the ones that a list of recipes that they have access to, and the ones that they have the ingredients available for will be highlighted, and they can click to craft them. Now this dialog box is probably going to come up when they click on like an alchemy bench or something like that. I don't think I want them to do it in the field, but we'll see. Maybe. I think it's like that in the OG. I think like a basket or something like that. But anyway, let's create some scaffolding objects here. So this is going to be, let's call it the recipe list. And we're going to call this a recipe. This will become its own item at some point. So I think we'll have a vertical layout group. Do we want to control the size of the child? Probably not. Okay, let's get a nice background for this. In fact, yeah, let's get a background for this. Maybe we'll use the standard background that we've been using. Not those. Looks like those. Oh yeah, paper. So each alchemy item could look like a paper slip. I don't think it matters. I mean, it can be refined later. But anyway, let's set up some text items. So we need to know the recipe name. Recipe name. Might be able to get away with that. Maybe. Let's get a vertical layout in here. And let's do some padding. Not sure about that. What colours did we use? Oh no, we haven't finished the new spellbook yet. We'll change it later. Let's just get this working. So we need the recipe name, and we need to know the ingredients. So how do we do this then? What we could do is show the thumbnail of the ingredient with a number overlaying it. So just for simplicity, we'll do that. Ingredient list. And this can be grid. Something sensible, I guess. Not really sure. Yeah, that'll do. And then again, this is going to be its own object, or its own prefab eventually, but we'll just create one as an example. Ingredient, and we have a couple of things we want in the ingredient, which is the thumbnail and the quantity. And the thumbnail's going to be an image. Let's take a health potion, and the quantity we can actually we'll just set it up with a TextBox Pro. And we know it's 2, but obviously this will be driven by the data eventually. So we could do something really simple like that. Why? That container's all over the place, isn't it? Oh, we content size fitter. Hi Papyrus, how are you doing? You recognise the music? Can you hear it okay? I was pushing that down. Yeah, I'm waiting for the other ones, Papyrus. How you doing with that? Otherwise, I've got this on repeat for about 4 hours. That's good to hear. I'm having trouble with this. What is this object here? Is it because of this? It's not that. Oh, it's because that's 100. That's 50. That's 100. Okay. I just missed the Christmas music from HP. Yeah, it's good to hear. Still got time. So much to do. Why is that position offset so much? That is so weird. Yeah, I mean, when I was younger, I was hearing the crit sound in my head. Hi, hi. I think I'm gonna put a background around this object and some padding, probably. Oh, that padding is too much. Actually, why is that like that? Because they're both being affected by the vertical layout, I think. Oops. Parent, that to there, that to there, that like that like that. UI has to be the worst thing in games, I tell you. Let's call that container. Dreams? Not really. I don't. To be honest, I don't dream that often. I daydream, procrastinate, don't do my actual work, and think about how I'll implement things. Think about how the code is going to look. Yeah, probably not healthy. Could use the button effect. That's kind of nice. Do we have a slice on this? We do have a slice on this. What we could do with the quantity is maybe bottom right. Take us down to something like 18, 22, 22. Maybe that. Crank up the size of the thumbnail, perhaps. Well, that's as big as it gets, isn't it? After all that time, working in kitchens. Sometimes I have dreams about school. I'm back in school for various reasons. I think we need to make this a bit bigger. Um, Change this to a grid. And 20. Oh, because it's flexi, we can't stretch it, can we? Yeah, it doesn't work. It's cough. It's a long time, 8 years. I did 12 and a half years at my last job. I'm glad to see the back of it, to be honest. Okay, anyway, focus, focus, focus. I think maybe this could be smaller. That will give us the gap. It's not the best way of doing it, but it works. Problem is this number over the top is a bit, it is obscuring. Unless we did something like 2 times and then the item, something like that. That could work. I don't know. The bigger, I like the bigger image as well. Oh, vertical layout's causing that. Just put the container back. Container. Grab all these, put them down there. Bam. Bam. We'll leave it like that for now, just because you can read it. It can always change. So we need to make some prefabs out of some of this stuff, so that we can populate it in code. So recipe. Is our prefabs folder. UI, dialogues. I really need to sort out the dialogues folder because it's getting a bit messy, but put that in there. And we're also going to put ingredient in there because the ingredient will also be dynamically populated. And both of these need some mono behaviors on them so that they can store the values and react to buttons and things like that. But at the same time that we're here, we might as well add the button. I feel like it should be on the right somewhere. Maybe just put it up here. UI button. Oh, I hate setting the buttons up, so I'm just going to copy it from vendor cell. Grab that button. I want this over here. Oh, we have a group here. I do not like that. Yeah, the layout group is causing it to stack rather than just overlay. So I'm going to have to put a parent here. Why couldn't I do that? And move this layout group to here. Can rename it in a second. That will deal with that, and then this is just going to be a floating element. Once we remove this, we can then put it over to the right. We can change the width, the height, 100. Kind of don't like the size of that font, to be honest. This in about 25. What word should we use? Craft? Craft. Craft. Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, 7 deer. Oh, I've got some overrides or something. Oh, yep. Fixed. So really simple interface. Now we just need to populate this. I'll probably need to create some sort of placeholder thumbnail because I think some of the items don't actually have thumbnails, but we'll soon find out. So first things first is we need the UI element for dialogues recipe. Yeah, I think that's fine. And also on the ingredient. Recipe ingredient. Spell it right this time. And what these mono behaviors are going to do is allow us to pass the data in from our scriptable object and populate those text fields, hook up those buttons so they actually do something. Let's move these over to the correct folder, which is UI. Dialogues. Okay. So our recipe has TMP under text for our recipe name. We also have a container, ingredient container, which is where we're going to add all of our ingredients. We also have we're going to create a new prefab, or we have created a new prefab for what do we call it? Dialogues. Recipe ingredient. So that's the one that we're going to create a copy of when we create new UI elements to put into our ingredient container. Don't really need to start or update. And we don't need to derive from dialog base like we did last time. I don't think we don't need to register it. It's just an object that appears on the alchemy dialog base, so that's fine. Set recipe. So we're gonna pass our recipe information into here, and recipe name is going to be equal to the recipe dot product item dot item name. I mean, technically we could have a different recipe name, but the name of the item that we're creating is good enough. We need to have something that's going to clear the ingredients, because we need to clear the UI elements if we've previously opened this dialog. So for each transform child in, can I even say this on YouTube? Destroy child game object. Destroy all the children within that transform. So let's clear the ingredients, and then we're going to populate the new ingredients. So for each find ingredient in recipe.ingredients, which we set up earlier, we want a new UI object, which is an instantiation of ingredient prefab. The parent is our ingredient container, and if it successfully creates it, then we can do the next bit, which is populate the ingredient UI. So the ingredient UI is the second one we created, which follows the same sort of pattern as we did here. Don't need these. We have an image, which we can call thumbnail image, and we also have a text object for our quantity. Similar to the previous one, we can just do set ingredient this time, and this is a recipe. Oh, what type of object is that? Oh, it's just called ingredient. Ingredient. The thumbnail image is going to be ingredient item, which is an item data, dot thumbnail sprite. Do I have to set this sprite? Yep. And then the quantity is going to be ingredient quantity toString, because it's an integer, so I need to cast it. And then we can hook this one up, which is ingredient in this iteration. Okay. Now, for us to be able to test this in game, we need to have a button to load this UI, this alchemy UI. Oh, where's it gone? Where is this? Oh, did I not create a behavior for this? Maybe I didn't. UI, dialogues, alchemy. As I say, this will probably be opened by interacting with something in the world, like a crafting bench or alchemy station, whatever. But just for testing, we want to be able to open this in the using the key of some sort. So dialog base is how I've set up my dialog system. It does need a dialog type. Need to add one here. Oh. We don't need to do much. Oh no, we do. Similar to the recipe, we need a recipe. We need to know the recipe container, and we need to know the dialogs understood recipe prefab. Do we do it on show? I think we do it on show. I've got an override for that, I think. Or open? Yeah, open. We're going to do load recipes. So this is the entry point where we're going to load the recipes. And I think the alchemy manager is probably going to be another singleton, just because it's so much easier to access. If I can remember the syntax. Admin manager, Singleton. Okay, so I've got access to the recipes from any script. Might not be the best way to do it, but I don't care. Void load recipes. We might want to make this public because we might want to refresh this somewhere else. We do need to clear recipes because we need to clear out all the old list if we want to refresh. So clear recipes. Same deal. We're going to destroy all the children for each. Transform child in that container. Destroy child game object. So that clears out all the UI items that we created, and now we just load the new ones. So for each, and this is where we're going to get our recipe list from. For each recipe in alchemy manager instance recipes recipe, just follow the same way that I did before. Recipe UI, it's going to be instantiating the prefab, putting it on the container as a child, and to know recipe UI dot set recipe. Okay, so that takes us all the way down the chain because we have these nested lists that we need to keep track of individually. I was complaining about missing the squiggly. Where? Oh. So let's put a key binding somewhere just so that we can access this. I don't actually remember where these are. Is it UI manager? Yeah, handle keyboard. So just for simplicity, I'm going to use A. It's going to toggle alchemy. So a couple of things I need to set up here is make sure that the alchemy box is registered on the UI. That's registered, and also close button. I should hook that up because we can mouse close, which means we can right click to close, and the close button is right there. Okay, so the recipe container is this one. The recipe prefab is this one. Why didn't it like that? Oh, lost association for some reason. Well, we might as well do this while we're here. Oh, that's the wrong one. Saving failed. There isn't a missing script, is there? Oh. Aha! Caught me in a loop. Let's just remove this. We don't technically need it. It's just for visualizing. We want to hook up recipe name, ingredient list, and then the ingredient. Oh wait, we did need that. Oh no, we didn't. We did not need that. Prefab was staring me right in the face. Ingredient. Oh, so then I've got. This is what happens when you move scripts around in Unity. Really annoying. Quantity. Oh, why haven't we got a thumbnail? Where's the thumbnail? No thumbnail? Okay. Okay. Right. Right, that one now works. You can go into recipe and ingredient. Why isn't this working? Oh, it wants to work now. Good. And then the ingredient still has no... Hi, Edwin. I see you there. Nothing wrong with jQuery and Razor. Anyway, what? Why is that not... It doesn't like that, does it? I mean, maybe we can try the sprite. Am I using the wrong image, maybe? Oh, UI, not UI elements. That'll be right. Thanks, Unity. Done now. Done. That's all hooked up. So everything is hooked up. Don't you mean OneNote-based product management? We have a way to open it with, or toggle it with a. It's registered on the UI. Yeah, that's fine. Obviously, we need to hook up our craft button. Let's just see if it loads our recipe. Because we're not doing anything with the server, I can just run this and see if it works. For those who haven't seen the new title screen, here you go. I made it dark. I'm putting some fire because I added fire recently. Server is, yeah, it's running. It doesn't matter which character I use. Good. Yeah, so that works perfectly. Images are hard to see. I don't like how it looks, but you can see there it's loading our recipe, which requires 2 briar flowers and 1 carp. So the next thing is to craft, and I think what should happen here is we click craft, and a progress bar will come up, and it will show you how long it's going to take. I feel like certain recipes should take a bit longer, maybe, and those will probably have to be kept track of on the server, and the server notifies when the crafting is complete. That's where I got my inspiration from, to be honest, Valheim. Yeah, the only thing that I don't have is swaying trees, so I could add a shader to make the trees sway, I guess. I don't know. It'll give me a couple of weeks and I won't like it anymore. Okay, so we probably need to jump into the server at this point and create some sort of alchemy process. We can use the alchemy manager for that. I think the alchemy manager can keep track of all of the active alchemy going on and do the notifications and everything else as well. The question is, we probably don't need to make that a network behavior. I don't think. But then if the client comes back and sees that process, maybe they want to see the progress. But then most alchemy or most crafting processes shouldn't take that long that would be needed. Event-driven stuff like pub subs, but everything is event-driven. It's all reactive. You tell the server to do something and it will push an event out to you. UDP tells you how to react to it. Pub sub's more like TCP, isn't it? A rover start and finish timestamps to display progress. I'm not sure about that. Just a timestamp is fine. Yes, this is a design choice that I have to consider. In the OG, and I think in a lot of games actually, you have to snap. OBS disconnected. Thanks for that, OBS. Yeah, I just don't know if it's going to be that complicated. I mean, you could go fully. Say for example, you had an alchemy recipe that takes 5 minutes to complete, and the server goes down. We might want to recall that and replay it. I think I'll keep it simple for now. So the client requests the craft operation, server runs some sort of coroutine, and after 3 seconds it completes. Both the client and the server know the start timestamp, so that the server doesn't really need to know it if it uses a coroutine, but the client will need to know it so we can have some sort of progress bar. I think that's a good start and achievable now without getting too complex. Yeah, could definitely make it a super complex system. I just don't know if it's going to need to be that complex. I mean, it wasn't in the original in Helrift. I think I don't need to overcomplicate it. Make it more like Valheim. Although Valheim is all local, and it just informs the server that new items have been created. So to avoid, I don't want to make Alchemy Manager a network behavior. I don't think any of the other managers are. Oh, Party Manager is. Yeah, because Party Manager has the full server reach. But we don't really want to put too many managers and systems in that are always active on the network for all users at all times. I think let's just do it through the character for now, and then extrapolate from there. Character always being network behavior. We'll just do this all at the bottom so we can move it out later. So we need to know. Oh, it's just time, isn't it? How can we start time? Jesus Christ, the long lines. I like it like that. I can read it. I thought you were going to say something about the 2,000 lines in this one class. To be fair, a lot of the stuff goes in here and I just forget about it. We need to know, yes, the alchemy start time. We want some sort of operation for request alchemy, request alchemy craft, request crafting. Yeah, request crafting, because I think we can use this for other things as well. This is a server RPC, and do we need to pass in? No, we don't. Once a line goes off screen on a regular monitor, that's way too far. Install Prettier. I think what I'll do is not install Prettier just to wind you up. Hey, look, I've got dark mode on. Alright, I'm no longer a boomer. One step at a time, yeah? Now, one of the things I probably want to do here, rather than passing the recipe in, is give all the recipes an ID. I don't like this because the item has an ID as well. But I don't really want to be passing the whole object. I really don't need to. It's just a waste of bytes. So I think what I'll do is add an ID up here. No, it's fine. It gives me something to talk about. Nag me all you like. Right, I'm going to give that an ID and then pass in the ID instead. Because the client doesn't need to give anything to the server apart from an ID, really. The server's already got awareness of the recipes. Yeah, this is one of the pieces of music that has been created by someone in the community. He's also doing some others for the game. This is one of the town pieces. So you enter areas in town, and this will be playing. It's actually very similar to the original Helrift. If you listen to the Helrift OST, it's got the orchestral what's the word? But it's got like the harmonies, the guitar riffs. Papyrus, yeah, that's right. Where is the music? It's in the background of the stream. Yeah. I've not made an announcement about it at the moment. He wants to finish the other 3 pieces, and then we'll have an OST for people to listen to. But they'll also be in the game. Yeah, just wait on a Papyrus so you can set up the OST. But there's going to be a lot of stuff released at the same time. I'm still waiting for logos and things and Steam capsules. It's just taking a lot longer than I hoped it would. Yeah, hopefully in the next couple of weeks everything will be up and running. Because yeah, getting the wish lists and stuff is really important. Getting traction, getting people coming in and interacting with the content. Yeah, it'd be nice to have. Obviously, we spoke about 4 pieces. It'd be nice to have more. One for the traveller zone. I think the traveller zone is very important because that's where people are going to spend their first 10-20 minutes and decide whether they're going to stay. So having some nice ambient music, making sure that they know how to play the game using tutorials, how to use the basic controls, how to use these systems like alchemy. Yeah, all of that stuff needs to be really tight really smooth. Yeah, you mentioned Gothic before. I've not heard it. What was I doing? Oh, I was adding IDs to recipes. Help if I saved it. Yeah, Papyrus has got some really nice stuff. I really like his the stuff on his Spotify, so you should check that out. He said that he had some inspiration from like Lord of the Rings, and you can really hear it. But yeah, everything's sort of hinging on that big release of all of that content in the next couple of weeks. While I just knuckle down and complete systems, because I need to start doing the social side, the marketing side, so that we bring in some fresh faces and ideas and get people excited as well. But anyway, ID is done. So there's a few things we need to check here. We need to check, well, if there's no ID, we just turn out of that. Um, we need to check this is an existing or a valid recipe. So we can get this from the admin manager, and it might be good to have a function here, something like get recipe, which is going to actually return a recipe object by ID, var recipe. We're going to just iterate through our recipes. And just return a recipe. And we can call that here, get recipe by our ID, and we can do the null check here. So if recipe is null, we can return. Next thing we want to check is if we have all of the ingredients. So we need to create some sort of function to check through all the ingredients and the quantities and make sure that we can actually craft it. So what a good thing might be to do is to create a function here. Or do we want to keep the owner information out of here because we have to iterate through the inventory to see if they've got the right items? Let's do it out here for now. So for each ingredient in recipe, dot ingredients. Now we need to check that our inventory can meet the needs of this recipe ingredient. We don't have a has items or something like that, do we? Has item. Might be worth creating one. Has item. We can do it by ID, I guess, and make quantity. Because this is just going to iterate through and find those items. But there is a problem here because you can have multiple stacks of items technically. For simplicity, I think maybe we don't check that. I mean, we could check that actually. Yeah, we could do something like remaining quantity equals quantity, and then we take away from that and then return. What does that intelligence like that? That's correct, isn't it? So if the remaining quantity, say we needed 2 briar flowers, it goes through the inventory. Every time it finds one or more than one, it just removes from the remaining quantity. If the quantity is 0, then I do have the item. Yeah, that makes sense. Totally makes sense. Or we could use link, actually. We could just group the items. If I can remember the syntax. Um, excuse me. I have to look this up because I don't remember the syntax off by heart. So you want to group by ID and then just get the quantity, I guess. So we can do item ID. We want to sum the. How do we sum? Yeah, I want to sum the quantities of them. I know the first bit. Just asking AI. But this thing causes me to be lazy. You know, I really shouldn't do it. Dot select. I just need a new anonymous object. For the item ID is group key, and then quantity is group sum. Item quantity. Okay. Yeah, that saves me iterating through them. I mean, yeah. For each item in items groups, we can just actually just do found item is items group. First of default item ID is equal to the ID. If found item no. Oh, well. Quantity is bigger than or equals to quantity. Okay, so if has item gradient dot item ID no, ID Yeah, it must be. And then the ingredients dot quantity. You got it wrong, by the way. It's dot sum. No, because each inventory slot has a quantity value on it as well. But also, it is possible for people to split stacks, so I need to group them all first, so that the grouping is basically everything is auto stacked before I do the check against it. Gets even more complicated when I need to actually remove those items from the player. I have to actually loop through everything, and because if they've got multiple stacks and one of the stacks finishes but they still have items remaining, it needs to pull it from the second stack. Anyway, those functions are already done anyway. So if we have the item, so if we don't have the item, we need to break is horrible, but that's just the way the game works, unfortunately. Might as well just break out at this point. If not, all ingredients. Well, if we do have all the ingredients, then we need to actually run the alchemy process at this point. We can notify back. Maybe we can create some sort of notification object type thing. This is a target RPC. We're gonna ignore server, include server. Wait, what's the exclude server? It's the other way around. Don't need the server to know about this. Notify crafting result. Just no network connection, con. And we'll have some sort of not enough ingredient, not enough, just no ingredients. That's fine. Notify notify crafting result. This is based to owner. Crafting result. So obviously this can all be improved and whatnot, but just to get it working, we'll say no ingredients. If there's no ingredients, just debug it for now. Crafting result dot no ingredients. Okay, next thing, like I say, I'm going to just do this really simply. We're going to create a coroutine. We're going to call it alchemy process. Start coroutine. Yeah, this is where we need to probably move this all out because it gets a bit more convoluted. Alchemy coroutine. recipe. The reason is because if the coroutine is still running, we need to feed back to the player that it's, you know, they can't run two at a time. So I think we do it up here maybe. If I can coroutine null, then we want to return, but we also want to notify craft result. And we can do something like, let's call it failed. Failed is fine. And then down here we can just say debug.log crafting failed. And we can eventually add sound effects and things for that, because this is all run on the client here. Now, the alchemy process is return yield, new yield, yield, return, new, wait 4 seconds. So let's say alchemy recipe takes 3 seconds. And then after that, we can then return success. Again, making that RPC call down to the client with a success notification. We've not actually taken the items away for now. We can do that in a minute. And then we just say, oh, the coroutine was null. And that should work. It'd be nice to maybe have a few more recipe not found. Oh, actually, recipe not found will handle both situations here. Just so we've got full information from the server when we test this. Recipe not found. Again, recipe not found there. Cool. Okay, so the last thing we need to do to test this is hook up the button so that we can actually call the crafting process from our UI. So let's go to the recipe, let's add a reference to the button, call it craft button, craft button, click, add listener, we'll just call this quest craft. We don't have access to the player object here. There are ways for us to pass that in, maybe through set recipe. That would be better, but for now, let's just do character. Just get it from the game session manager instance dot current session character. So we need to store the. Do you know what? Let's do this over here because we need to make sure that we've definitely got the ID stored. We need to store the ID of, because we're now using IDs. Recipe ID is equal to recipe.id. That way we can pass it in here. And now we can just go back to the UI and connect that button up. So just to recap, this is what our UI looks like. Oh, did I not? I didn't create it as a prefab. Let's just go into game and do it. I need to rebuild the server though. Let's do that first. And run the client. Okay, so let's see if this works. We actually got craft succeeded. I don't have the items, I don't think. I do. I have 1 carp and 4 briar flowers. So I'll take away the carp, craft. Yeah, I don't have the ingredients now. Yeah, there's a cat behind me, so I did mute myself for a second. Yeah, so this works perfectly, actually. Yeah, you know. So now I need to tell the client that the crafting has started so that I can start this timer. Because that is working. Obviously, we're not taking away our items either. So let's do that. Obviously, the other bit is giving me the item that it is supposed to generate. So let's work on those. Let's go to our code here. So when our alchemy process starts, we need to tell the client that the alchemy process has started. So we could probably use this. I don't like the fact that it's a crafting result, but whatever. We can change the name of that. So we're telling the client here that it started and then starting it. There might be a bit of a delay here. The latency might cause a problem. What we could do is pass down the start time in the payload. But for simplicity, let's leave it like this for now. We have this new case here for started. And this is going to tell the UI something's happening. So if we go through our UI manager, get our dialog, which is a UI underscore dialogs underscore alchemy. I want to check this is open, or do we? So the problem we got here is I can interact with the dialog directly, but what if they close the dialog? and then reopened it again, it's going to then clear out all of the information. So it's almost as if the character needs to keep track of this crafting process. I mean, we could run the alchemy process on the client side as well, potentially. So if the alchemy coroutine is in progress, check the start time and then calculate uh, the progress bar based on that, maybe. Or as I say, we can pass the start time down here. I think we'll try it that way. But we can use a float, I believe. So we set the start timer here. And pass the start time here. Can we use time? I think we can. How do we do it on the attack process? We use, yeah, time.time. So we pass the start time down. We start the process at 3 seconds. So yeah, what we can do is just copy that coroutine potentially. It just might be out of sync. And also the server's telling us when the result succeeds anyway. So it's almost as if we need a alchemy state, do it like a state engine. Yes, this might be crafting state. Well, the result is slightly different. Let me think. Well, I mean, we need to know which recipe we're doing as well. It's sort of like we need a whole payload. So crafting result actually becomes some sort of data object that tells us the state of the crafting, the result, the ID of the recipe. The reason is because if I open up the dialog again on the client, it has to know all that information so it can repopulate whatever you did previously. Or alternatively, what we do is we stop the dialog from being closable if the alchemy process is underway. Tough. There's different ways to approach it, really. This is public, it's not public. Let's do crafting state. Results fine. This is going to come over to here. Started. Let's do idle. so we know if we are allowed to start something. This is purely client side, I think, because the state from the server side is being handled by the existence or non-existence of the coroutine. And we probably need to have a separate RPC for this. The good thing about this is that we can make this very generic, and it's not just for alchemy, it's for all crafting. So once it's done once, things like manufacturing, we use the same process. Alternatively, do you know what? This is actually perfect for a sync var. Rather, we don't need to RPC it. Let's grab the sync var syntax. Just keep it all down here. So what sync var does is it automatically deals with the synchronization of individual variables. We only want to read from the owner and write the server. Yeah, the server is writing only. Okay, so that means what we can do here when we start the alchemy process, rather than notifying of a result, we can update the crafting states to start it. And that's going to automatically tell the client of that value change. And similarly, we can set it back to idle down here. And we can hook onto that event from the UI as well. Okay, started and idle. Do we need any other states? I don't think so. We might do. There might be some other. It might be that there's like intermediate states. And we start doing manufacturing. Okay, now back to the UI. Let's add a nice progress bar. I keep going back here. I didn't put this as a prefab. Let me do that before I forget. We don't really want to do it on that one anyway. We'll do it on the recipe. Ugh, within context, that looks horrible. Let's try like this. There we go. So the craft button is going to disappear when the process starts. Progress bar. We have some nice progress bars actually. Bar. Yeah, we can use these ones. Why is the aspect like that? I don't like that that is doing that. Anyway, bar. Something like that. Or like that. I don't like these ones, they're a bit too messy. I think something like this will work. Just put it over here. Is that in the right place? It is in the right place. So why won't you go over there? There we go. Craft button has 25 pixels that side. We're going to reduce this down. And give it some. I assume that the red is the one that's designed for it. It's got panning of some sort. Ugh. That one hasn't. Oh, could it be this one? Yeah, I think that's designed for it. Yeah, not too keen on this, but let's try it out. Does not stretch very well, does it? It's fine. Horizontal. Oh, field. Field horizontal. Yeah, so it's gonna do this over 3 seconds. Let's go bing done. So let's add some references. Craft, process, progress, fill. Probably want to have reference to container as well, because I want to hide it. So on start, we want to show the craft button. And hide this button, or hide this container. Well, unless we detect that there is crafting in progress. Although to start with, I think that's fine like that. This is where we might want to grab a reference to the character here. Just because we're going to be using it multiple times. Okay, so if the character dot crafting state dot value, because it's a sync file, is started so I got another problem. What recipe were we crafting? Because we're on the recipe, we're at the recipe level here. We're not using this, are we? Yeah, we don't actually need to know it. But I think what we do need to know is the ID of the recipe that we're crafting. So just so the client has a reference to it. It doesn't need to be used by the server or have any authority over it. Just so we have a reference. So we store this on the client, we send it up to the server. The server doesn't really care about this variable, so we don't need to sync it or anything. We can clear it afterwards, I guess. You know, it doesn't really matter. It's doing the same thing. Because we've got the result, we can clear that value down. And we can say on the crafting recipe ID is equal to recipe.id. Then we can toggle these. And then we can update this. In fact, what we can do, if the crafting state is started, but this current recipe item is not the recipe that we're crafting, we probably want to disable or grey out the buttons or something. Or let's just hide them for now for simplicity. So if we are on the current crafting recipe, show the progress container, and we're going to just hide the craft button regardless. But if we're in the state of idle, then we can go back to this situation. Okay, so again we check in here. Now when did we start? Actually we probably do need the start time. Kind of need the start time, don't we? But I mean, we can store it locally. I'd rather do it server side, but I don't think the delay will matter too much. I guess the fill of the progress bar will just hang for a few milliseconds. It's not really possible to get that super accurate, I guess, depending on your ping. Yeah, I think that's fine. I'm going to put this value here on the globals. I'm going to call this crafting time, just so, because I'm about to use it again, and I'll lose track otherwise and forget about it. Okay, so we're setting the craft start time. We can clear that again down here if we want to. That doesn't really matter. So now we need to go through the update process. So if time.time well, no, we need to interpolate between the start time and the end time. So the start time plus globals dot crafting time, 3 seconds. Sample our point between that vector and then apply that directly to the fill. So point is float. Can we have we lerp? So A is going to be the start time. B is going to be start time plus crafting time. And we have the current time, time.time. Right? That's correct. And then we can apply that directly to the fill. So craft progress fill amount is point. We probably need to hold state on this object as well, because if we go into idle time, it's not actually going to reset, but I'll do that afterwards. I want to test that this works first. Yeah, no, this is wrong. We need to know elapsed time. Which is going to be current time minus start time. Crafting start time. Right? Elapsed time is, yeah, so that's elapsed time. And we need to know how much elapsed time over the total crafting time to get the normalized amount here. Elapsed time by globals crafting time. So the elapsed time is 2.5 out of 3 seconds. It would have to be 2.5 divide 3, which is whatever, 66.66, because that's a value 0 to 1. Quick maps. Right. See it working in action. I'm going to rebuild the server. Let's start the game. See what happens. This could be a mess. It's all very theoretical. Oh, I need to change the thing. Start server. Didn't work at all. Succeeded. Let's double check. So we click the button, we request the crafting. We know it comes back from the server. It's the trigger of this that we're not capturing. We do all this up here. So what this is, it's capturing the callback when the server makes a change to this variable, but on the client side. So technically what we could do here is inform the dialog to make the change. Because at the moment we're not actually triggering this by anything. We'd have to click this really quick. Well, it's broken now, but we'd have to click the A button really quickly to refresh it to trigger this code. So let's create a function. Let's call it refresh. We can refresh here. Yep. And we can also refresh as a result of this. So if we grab UI manager instance dot get dialog UI dialogs. Oh, we're gonna have to do it from the alchemy one actually. Excuse me. Oh wow, I've been talking all this time. Sorry, I muted myself earlier because there was a cat. Yeah, just I've just been testing and debugging and talking to myself, trying to get this bar to work. Um, all right, yeah, so we can see the values are going up. I am a noob. I get carried away. I get carried away with the code and then forget that I've muted myself. Oh, actually, it might be when I cough. So actually, I wasn't talking for too long, to be honest. Um, yeah, this doesn't look right. So the elapsed time. So it's the time between now and the start time, which, say, for example, it's 2.5 seconds. That could be something like 2.5. Then it's 2.5 divide 3 crafting time, which is whatever. 0.83. And to be honest, we could use this. We don't actually need to lerp it. Here, why don't I just use this? This is the correct value. Right? Yeah, because this is a normalized value. Yeah. I think I was overcomplicating it. I don't like how this bar looks. I might change it, but let's get it working first. Already logged in, am I? Yeah, this is what happens when I cause an error when I'm still logged in. There's a timeout I've got to wait for. Take a swig of the old drink. Good. Okay, yeah, that works. There is a tiny delay. There's always going to be a tiny delay because of the latency, but I think that's acceptable. Most games have that. Um, it just looks crap, to be honest. I will make some changes. Maybe I'll use the same sort of bar that I've used down there on the experience gauge. It's got that sort of glass effect in front of it. I kind of like that. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Now, do we stop the players moving if they're crafting? If they're in crafting state? I think we probably do. Or it cancels it or something like that. The only problem is the server's going to take the items at that point. Mm. Although the server has authority over that variable. So, yeah, we can do that. So a couple of things we'll do now is we'll just improve the look of this bar. I think it looks like ass at the moment. I might even keep the crafting button there and maybe run it along the bottom, or something, but I'll get it looking like the one at the bottom here for the experience. And I'll also have the items being taken away from me and the items being given to me. Just move this over. Actually, we'll close that because we'll need to make some changes to the server. Let's open the alchemy prefab. And change this horrible looking mini bar line. Yeah, I do not like that. Let's find the one that we use for the HUD. Main HUD. Oh yeah, of course it's purple when it is when I've not got a level up available. HP bar frame line. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, we can use this. Oh, we can't use materials. So, for those who don't know, you can't use materials on UI elements unless they're using a screen space camera, I believe it is. Um, the great thing about the material is that we can have these sort of effects on them using shaders, shader graph, or or whatever. It saves you having to use like an animated image, but I guess that's fine. At least we know which one we're doing here. HP bar frame line. HP bar frame. This one. Yeah, that looks nice. That looks much nicer. Sliced. It is sliced, although it doesn't look too bad like that. Maybe make it smaller. Um, that looks fine. One thing I didn't consider is the spacing here. For when we eventually get multiple recipes there, because I'll have to test that in a second. Similarly, let's just for visibility, let's add a few more of these back. I removed these earlier when it was having a bit of a nightmare. There we go. Yeah, I'm fairly happy with that. Let's finish the server side part. So when we run the alchemy process, we wait 3 seconds. We're going to notify craft result, and we're also going to give the player an item, which is the output, the product of the recipe. I can't remember how to give an item. How do I do it? Actually, I can just check on one of the interactables. Gatherable. Oh, yeah, we just get the item like that. Oh, and then we do this horrible, horrible check here for stacks. So with the product items ID, I'm going to give them 1. Could we potentially allow multiple? I think in future, Valheim does that for just a few items, like ingots. If you're crafting copper ingots, you can craft 1 or 5. So there is potential that we can allow for crafting in multiple, expanding the system to do that. Yeah, I have this horrible function here that I don't know why I did it this way. Oh, yes, I did, because during the pickup process, it needs to check if you can actually pick it up before it tries to add it, because adding an item does the check again, but that will drop the item. So it needs to do it beforehand. So I think that's fine, actually. I can just add the item directly. Request pickup has a very specific logic to it, and I don't need to do all this code, I don't think. So let's do character. Oh, already on the character. Add item. Item. Yeah, auto stack true. And we want to remove the ingredients as well now. So if we have all ingredients, we want to remove. We need to go. We need to iterate through the ingredients again. We've checked that they're okay, and now we're going to iterate through them. We're going to remove ingredient dot ingredient item dot ID and ingredient dot quantity, and then the magic under the hood is done in here already. Oh, accepts an item. Oh. Ah. We don't have a remove item by ID, I don't think. So we need a function for this. That's not great. Because we can't group them, we need to get the exact item and remove it from the inventory. So we need to iterate through it one by one, and like I said earlier, I thought I had a function for this. So remaining quantity is quantity, and we're going to iterate through every item in the inventory. If the item dot ID item oh, is it collection? Yeah, it's a sync dictionary, sync list. Yeah, so we have to reference the list via the collection. So the item ID is equal to ID. Oh, this gets a bit complicated. Hi, Dominic. We're building the alchemy system. It's actually going very well at the moment. We've created the recipes. We have created some UI elements to control the recipes, and we're just finishing off the server side, which is giving you the item from the recipe and removing the items from your inventory, that the ingredients. Um, I just got into the realm of the complex, boring stuff, the maths. We call it maths here, and also a missing function that I thought I'd created to go through and remove the items from your inventory based on an ID. We have a function that removes the items based on a known item that's in your inventory, but we don't do it by ID, and it's a bit more difficult because you can have multiple stacks of the same item, so it needs to keep track of a quantity and then iterate through everything and remove them one by one. So yeah, just got a bit bogged down by some of this stuff, but it's functions that need to be in here anyway. So once it's done once, I can reuse it for manufacturing and any other skills we come up with. But yeah, after alchemy, I'm hoping to do some more on the class balancing. So yeah, mainly UI, so that the players know where the various damage modifiers are coming from. But yeah, I'll get onto that soon. So we are on one of the items that we want to remove. What we could do is remaining quantity. If item quantity is bigger than remaining quantity equals 0. This is a very simple process, so item to, it should be items to remove. This gets so complicated because we're not necessarily removing all of the quantity of each of those items. Items to remove dot add this item and then the item quantity minus remaining quantity. For each item in item to root values, we can then go back to our original function down here, which deals with synchronizing with the client. Item to remove. God, how complicated was that? I mean, to be honest, we can just break out of the loop here, unless we don't have the quantity here. What if this fails? We should really return false and then do something about it. items to remove, item quantity. So in this case, we're removing the whole thing, and then continuing on our iteration and finding those items. I mean, yeah, this is not very safe at all, because it's manipulating the inventory directly. However, it's being run after the has ingredients has run, so I've just got to be careful running this function. It can be it could cause a desync. Um, I'll have to put some safety net around here. Like it would be more like try remove item, and it'll do all those checks within there. But let's assume that this is run correctly, and we've already got on our list of items that all of our ingredients are correct, and then we remove them. Thanks, Unity. I didn't want this or this. Let's rebuild the server. I think I lost a few brain cells doing that, but hopefully it'll work. So what we're expecting now is that when we run the alchemy process, it will delete the items, the ingredients for the product, and it will give us the product as well. Let's see. Let's bring up the inventory side by side. So it's 2 briar, 1 carp graft. Yeah, so in this case, it gave me the item, but it took all of my briars, not just... Let's check if it does it with the carp as well. Briar flower. Yeah. Briar flower. So we got 5 and 2. So I'd expect it to even move 3 and 1, but I don't think it will. I think, yeah, it's something to do with the stacking. The stacking is definitely causing an issue for it. But it does give me the potion, which is great. And it looks very nice. Let's double check this code. This is why it's unsafe. Because it actually took it doesn't have all the fail safes in there to prevent it from removing the wrong amount of items. Item quantity is bigger, so this is the block that's going to hit because I had 5 briar flowers and I only needed 2. So remaining quantity is 0. That's correct because I've got the quantity. Oh, That would be why, because I've set the remaining quantity to 0 there. So it was doing items.remove 5. uh, so yeah, this is again, this is making it a bit safer. Quantity to remove is remaining quantity. Although, to be honest, doesn't that do the same thing? Yeah, it does. It's just an oversight. I have to build the server again because server changes. On the server. So I have 2 carp, 5 briar, so I should have 3 briar, 1 carp left. Yep. And again, yeah, cool, works. Very nice. And we get the no ingredients debug message. So we want some messages to appear in the game. Might as well do that now. Yeah, using the HUD add message function. We can also run. We could play the success. That where you that's a very bad um, example. I will just play the sound. We could do something like you successfully crafted a How come window was above the pop-up when you hovered over an inventory item? Yeah, they're they're in a stack. So the last one that you clicked on is comes to the front automatically. That's just, yeah, something that we did that was done in Hellbreath and I've carried over. And the pop-up for items is part of the inventory, and the inventory was obviously behind the alchemy window. I'm gonna have to get a reference to the recipe here so that I can use its name. Alchemy manager, instance, recipe. We've got reference to this on the client because we don't set it to null yet. Yeah, this could cause a weird thing, but it's fine. Yep. You successfully crafted a whatever. Crafting failed. Do we need to prioritize windows by type. I don't know. I mean, the pop-up is used on multiple dialog boxes. Like the item one is on the inventory and on the warehouse. They have their own dedicated ones, so they're not a separate element that floats about between the different pop-ups. It's part of that alchemy or part of that inventory one. I mean, we could. I just don't see any point. I don't think it's that important. Not enough ingredients. Then recipe not found. So I think we can play the success sound here. Where's that audio manager? Where is our audio manager? Oh. Is it skill SFX? That's it. Yep, so we get to play the sound. We could have like a particle effect and things. Yeah, I think the UI system just needs an overhaul anyway. I mean, I'm just copying how it was in Helrift. So now we should get some messages on the screen. Yeah, not enough ingredients. We can't really, like, there is no failed event. There's a success event. Not enough ingredients. Recipe, yeah, the failed and recipe not found are not situations that are easily replicatable. I can see recipe not found being a mismatch between the client and the server if they're not seeing the same list of recipes on the alchemy manager. So I could probably do. If I mean, I could probably fudge it somehow. Oh, we've only got one recipe. So if I had this on the client, the server isn't aware of this one. If I reopen that, try to craft, yeah, recipe not found. So that if there's a mismatch, we can actually trigger that one. And lastly, we'll just make sure the sound plays. So let me give myself some prior flower. Can I do that? Oh, I can. Oops. Oops. Pressing the wrong button. Can I do 5 cart? No, I can't because it's not stackable. Interestingly, if I give it to myself, it doesn't give me a weight. But anyway, it works. Oh, might help if I had the sound on. Yeah, cool. You probably didn't hear that over the sound of the music. Prior flower. So plays the standard success sound from Helrift. Okay. Crafting. Or more specifically alchemy, but I think this crafting process will work for the manufacturing skill as well. I wanted to add in fletching, which will work the same way. You'll have, you know, logs, um, maybe arrowheads. I haven't really decided how that skill's going to work yet. Yeah, I've got the sound all the way down on the game on purpose because they're very loud. But it is just the standard Hellbreath success sound. Dun 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 dun. I thought it was the woo sound, but it's not. Skill success is just dun 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 dun. Cool. Yeah, what you were talking about is this. So if I click on inventory, that automatically brings it to front. So when I start dragging it around, it goes in front of everything. If I then click on alchemy, even if I just tap it, but if I drag it as well, it will bring it to the front. So if I then move my mouse over the inventory, I'll probably have to do it over here. Yeah, because alchemy is in front and that item pop-up is part of the inventory box, it goes behind, it stays behind alchemy with the inventory box. If I click on inventory and then hover, then obviously it comes to front and then it is in front with the related box. Because it's part of this box here. It's attached to it. It moves around only to make sure it doesn't go off screen. You know, it's not really a floating box. Um, yeah, I'm happy with that. Let's fish for a carp. This recipe for a small health potion might be a bit overkill. Because this one requires 2 briar flower, 2 snake meat, 1 carp, 1 pure water droplet. Seems like a lot. Maybe I have to reduce it. Although, in fairness, this potion is not supposed to be the small health potion. There are new types of potions that I'm introducing that provide restore a percentage of health rather than a absolute value. In fact, it's not even absolute on the original health potions. They are dice rolls, which are just horrible in general. Yeah, I don't know how long it's going to take me to get a carp. Seems like for the beginner potions, maybe having a fish with it is too much, and we just stick with the gatherable, which the briar flowers are going to be everywhere, and the body part, snake meat or whatever meat. Oh, I paid for this um, this set of shaders for water. One of the few things I've actually paid for. I wanted to have good looking water. Oh, my minimap's gone. Oh, I've got a carp, so I can actually alchemy now. Yay. Yeah, there's lots of features to this set of shaders. You can have it flowing like a river and things. It is an actual skill issue because I don't know how to write shaders. I can use shader graph, but that's about it because it's just node based. One thing, I'm just going to make an improvement to this alchemy box. I want these to be grayed out. Maybe these numbers as well should be grayed out. Yeah, it is. I mean, they got so many different features. I can show you here. I can show you the features. Uh, it was called URP water. That's it. Yeah. I'll tell you the reason I actually bought this is because I'm using an orthographic camera, which has no depth perception. And all of the water shaders that I was playing with, the tutorials that I read, they were all for a perspective camera, which uses a depth check to get. I mean, you can see the shoreline. You can see that it looks through the water and gives a different gradient based on the depth. It also has this caustics thing as well. Wait, which one am I using here? 1 second. Oh no. Yeah. So it's got these various effects. You can toggle on and off. And most importantly, it has an orthographic option. So they have a method of doing it in orthographic, which it's too complicated for me to figure out at the moment. Just haven't got time. So it was just a flick of a button to have an orthographic water shader with depth perception. Uh, yeah, I mean, you can drink it if you like. Yeah, you can see a bit here actually. There's a bit of outcrop, and the way that the colours work and everything. Um, like I say, in perspective camera, depth is just inherent in the design of the way the camera works. So I had to get one that specifically worked with orthographic, and this one's great. Will you drink it now? This was the other good thing about it as well. There were so many options that eventually, when I do my swamp biome, you can do something like this, make it green. You've got these flow maps as well, which are quite cool. Where is it? Flow map. So you can make it look like it's flowing. Yeah, like this. Yeah, I know. I don't know where I find the time in the day, to be honest. Oh, we launched a rocket today, by the way. We got fed up with waiting, so we just launched it. Yeah, I'm gonna make some improvements here, grade these out. The color of what? Do you mean like lighting? Yeah, of course. You can do volume. what do they call them in Unity? You've got your global volumes and you've got your just regular volumes which you can set up with different post-processing effects and things. And obviously lighting, you can just set up your lighting, your point lights and your directional lights however you like. I mean the title screen here is rendered in game, and that's just, it's got a different cube map, so the lighting from the cube map is more of a blue. The directional light is also dimmer and obviously darker, but dimmer and bluer, colder. Um, you can set the color based on the position of the player. All right, yeah, like I just did there. I don't know if you saw, but I just set it to green. So if I did a swamp biome, I could do green water. Yeah, because it's just a plane mesh with a shader attached. So I just have to create planes wherever I need them. One could be green, one could be purple. The good thing about that is that I can configure each of those planes with settings so that you can get certain fish in certain areas. But I can also use different. I can use a flow map for a river, and then not use a flow map for the sea. Or maybe out if I had like a sea biome, it's quite far out at sea. That has waves as well, so I could put waves on it. Yeah, so one material isn't global. I can use them all over the place if I wanted to. In fact, I have one. This simple one is used in like buckets and the wells. Probably didn't need to do that. A bit overkill for such a small amount of water, but it was easy to add it. Alright, so if we refresh the recipes, let's get rid of this. We don't need this anymore. We want to do an ingredient check on this side as well. So we need to copy the same thing over here. Has item. So I think we need to box this up into its own function so that we can call it from anywhere. And we'll call that function canCraft, and we'll pass in recipe. So if canCraft recipe, and now we can call this from our client side as well, because the client has the same visibility of the inventory as the server does. That makes it nice and easy in our refresh function to manipulate the buttons. So if canCraft recipe ID, oh, do we not? We don't have the recipe ID, do we? Oh, the recipe object. Ugh. So if we canCraft recipe, then the craft button. Dot. Oh, what's the? It's interactable, isn't it? True. So I'm keeping this open because I'm thinking maybe to have the background grey out as well. and maybe the numbers to change colours. Maybe red and green or something. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do the numbers at least. Split these up. Let's go colour, and we'll call this ingredients met colour. And not met colour. Which means we need a refresh button on the ingredient as well, or refresh function. Or we just do it, no, we'll just do it all in here. Yeah, because we need to iterate through them all. It's actually separate from this function, this code here. Ingredients container. So get components in children. UI as dialogues and list ingredients. And for each of those ingredients, oh, do we have has items? Damn. I thought we had something like has items. Oh, we do, but it's private. Oh, we created that earlier. Of course we did. Ugh. The way this is set up doesn't make it easy for us. We need a reference to the ingredient here. So we go through all the ingredients. Let's try and make this a bit more readable. Ingredient item being the item data, get the ID. So if we have the item, then the ingredient UI quantity dot color is equal to ingredient met color, else ingredient UI color is ingredient not met color. Wow, I hate UIs. So let's set the met color to green. And then the not met color to a red. We can pull the correct color palettes later. Let's see if that works. I don't think I changed anything on the server. Oh, I did change something on the server. Because I normalized that can craft function into its own function. Alright, so that's starting. Yeah, so it's we broke something here. Um, Ingredients. Really not got access to the ingredient here? Oh, could it be has item? Oh, is it possible we're refreshing before the character gets set? No, it can't be because it would have done by now. I mean, the graying out works, but the color change doesn't. So we get all of the ingredients. Yeah, we instantiate them, then we're refreshing, so that's fine. Oh, does that come from set recipe? It does, so that's fine. We are creating the ingredients first, and then we're iterating through them all. Um, it's almost as if we don't have access to ingredient. Why though? We're sending it here. Ingredient item should be fine. If we look at the how can we manage? Yes, minor healing potion. Yeah, the ingredient items are fine. They're defined. So what's now? Oh, I'm confused. So we set the recipe, we clear the ingredients, we instantiate all the ingredients, set the ingredient value in there, right? Which is going to set this dot ingredient to ingredient. So that's defined, or it's referenced. We do that. We do the listener. We then refresh. Then we iterate through the recipe ingredients, the UI objects, that is, which, to be honest, we can see it here. I think we'll see the reference. Ingredient list, yeah, 2 ingredients. Yeah, it's got references to the ingredients there. So what's the problem? Who knows? It looks correct to me. This game object should be correct, otherwise it wouldn't enter the loop. This ingredient should be correct. ID, I mean, I actually don't know why that's doing that. Maybe anything to do with the server, I don't think. Right. Ingredient items, no. Why? But it's not. um, they both have ingredient items, so yeah, that shouldn't actually be an issue. I don't know why it's doing that. It's somehow lost a reference. Unless when we instance, no, that's fine. Um, yeah, it should be going into this one and finding the ID, but it doesn't. I mean, we could try it the other way around. It's a bit more cack-handed, but there must be something to do with it. It's losing the reference somehow. Maybe it doesn't keep the deep references when they're referenced that way. Yeah, we can do it this way. So we iterate through all the ingredients, find the UI element that matches it, and then set the colors. I don't like that. That's just such a horrible way of doing it. Actually, I'll just use a different character. It's the same thing, isn't it? Ah, there we go. There that works. So green, because I've got 2 briar flowers apparently, or at least 2 briar flowers at 25. And then, yeah. So I know for a fact this isn't going to work. Oh, it disconnected my, because it's the same connection. At least I can go back on this character. Yeah, so if I give myself a carp, it's not going to refresh it until that happens. So we need to bubble up some events, but I don't think I'm going to do that tonight because I don't think those events exist, and I don't really want to be messing about with them. But it refreshes like that, which is good. I'm quite happy with how this is all working. Just might have to change the recipes. I think the recipes might be a bit too difficult for noobs, especially for a low-level potion like that. But also, I need to create all of the items, make sure they all drop, create all the recipes, make sure they're all craftable, and add some effects. There are some items that don't have thumbnails as well, so I probably need to do that. And something that's really bugging me is the bold on the word alchemy there. I know I thought it needed it, but it just doesn't look right. Yeah, that's better. It matches the other ones. Yeah, that's cool. The other thing I'll probably do is have a tooltip over these items so that we know which item or which ingredients are required. Because those little thumbnails aren't too easy to tell what they are sometimes, especially if you're new to the game. So we'll need to hold their hands. Um, what else could we do? I suppose, I mean, we could grey out the title. We could fade out the background. We could do all sorts of things. We probably want to promote the ones that are craftable to the top as well. So ordering of those items would be good. So yeah, a lot of work to do there. But I'll take that offline and finish it, I think. But what I want to do for the last half hour or so is update this to have some sort of tooltip. What I'd like to show is the damage modifiers, where they're sourced from, because they've changed from Helrift now. But the damage modifiers are things like damage based on int or madge or strength or the new skill finesse. They can also come from the weapons, the stats on the weapons, necklaces, rings, that sort of thing. So I'm going to get a generic tooltip that works with this box, which if I hover over things, it's probably going to follow the mouse. Yep. So let's do that. So this one's the character box, and we want. Do we want a generic tooltip? I think we do. Tooltip. Actually, this might get a bit complicated if I make it generic, because it has to be controlled by the UI manager, and then any element can effectively call it. Yeah, I actually kind of like that. It means that I can create a mono behavior called tooltip. If the mouse enters that box, it just loads the tooltip dialog. Damage modifiers. Yeah. Oh. Do we need? We need an element that can be interactable, right? But I think we can do. Oh no, it also needs to have an image. What's the workaround I did before? I think I just used like one of these and just put this all the way down like this. Yeah, it's like very hacky. But the reason is because it needs to be a raycast target. So the way I want this to work is that a tooltip can have content within it, and I think the content needs to be some sort of prefab. Um, or we just put text in there and then it gets populated automatically by the tooltip UI element. Um, oh, this gets really complicated actually, because we have to know what type of data we want to present on the tooltip. Yeah, it's going to end up being very, very rigid because we'll have a tooltip type. I think based on the type, it's going to then just populate the data. Can't think of another way of doing it really. You could do it with a prefab, but then you'd need to have a mono behavior for each type anyway. Uh, I think I'm going to leave it and have a think about how I want to do this because I could end up making a right mess of it. Yeah, let me leave that because it's going to take me longer than half an hour to do anyway. Um, there's more that we can do on the alchemy, but I think I'll have to call it a night. I think we got a lot done today. I think the alchemy system's come out really nice in its first iteration. Plenty of improvements that we can do on it. We also need to do the recipes and the products. I have lots of products that I want to create and show everyone. And I think I'll put up a blog post or something with the list of potions and consumables that we're going to be creating, with the recipes and how you get those ingredients. Yeah, I think we'll leave it there, guys. Hope that was informative. Any questions, let me know. Don't forget to join the Discord, um, leave a like, and all of that stuff. Come and join us in the community if you're interested, and hopefully see you in the open beta at the end of this year, start of January as well. So thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Speak soon. Bye bye.